All right, everyone. So we were talking about the getting ready for the EPA test and all that good stuff. So let me give you some what this equipment actually is, and I'll hook this up and show you. And I'm gonna try to film it like this, to where I do like a live feed, where if you're just walking through. This is an EPA recovery pump. This is an Appion. This is my brand of choice. Doesn't matter. Like I've always told y'all, do what you want. But this is the one that I like to use. This machine here ranges from $600 to $800 on average. Now, the key to that is you have to have one of these. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You don't have to have that brand, but you have to have a recovery machine. This is the machine that pulls the refrigerant out of the system. Now, there's lots of tricks and ways to get a vast majority out, because doing a full recovery can take, depending on the size, depending on the shape, like I always tell y'all, it can take up to an hour. Okay, but anyway, this is a vacuum pump, and I'll show y'all that here in a minute on the gauges as to how to get your low side out of that positive PSI into the negative. Here's a couple of the recovery cylinders. This is where you put your refrigerant. I remember we always talked that the recovery cylinders are gray with the yellow top. Now here's two different sizes. This one here is a smaller one, and this is the larger. The key to these is knowing how to read the weight, because when we pull refrigerant out, we do it by weight. And there will be questions on the test. So here we go. Right here, TW. That stands for tare weight, 24 pounds. This tank, empty, tare weight meaning the weight of the tank, an empty tank is 24 pounds. Then you have something called WC, or weight content, right? That's the weight of the content in the machine. In the drum. You add these two together, the weight of the tank, the weight of the content, gets you a total, and this one here is 71.7. So in this particular tank, weighs 71.7 pounds, that's how you know it's full. It will have 42 some odd of refrigerant in it, and the 24 from the weight of the tank. This one here, smaller, but still the same thing. You will look on the side for your tare weight and your weight content and just add them together. Remember, those will be on the test. You will need to know what this is. Recovery machine. Where does the refrigerant go? To the recovery cylinder. And the recovery cylinders are always, right, gray with a yellow top. These are not the only sizes that they have. There's much bigger ones. I do believe that is the smallest one. But this is on average what we call a 60-pound recovery cylinder. But anyhow, this is the one that I use for burnouts. And of course, when it fills up, I will exchange it. This one, I use it to pull refrigerant out, make repairs, and then put it back in. That's my clean drum. This drum's typically dirty. And also, it's going to be on the test. Never, ever, ever mix your refrigerants. Okay? You got one R22, one 410A. Keep them the same. Don't mix them. All right? So, standard set for hooking this up, very simple. And I'm going to do it in kind of live action. We'll come over here, go to our ports, high side, low side. And this I know we haven't gotten to yet, because we haven't had a chance to play with those machines. But this line, it's older. This machine's about 12 years old. It's insulated, and it's insulated from here all the way up through the wall into the attic. The reason for that is because this is our low side, which is our cold side, and it condensates. So you want to make sure you don't get any condensation in the wall. So we'll go here, grab this. Now this, let me show you, is a R22 refrigerant right here. Now, we talked the other day, HCFC, hydrochlorofluorocarbon. The C before the F. That's the one that kills the polar bears, right? The chlorine. So we'll make sure to really make sure that this refrigerant does not escape. Oh, here. This valve, off and on. When you hook up, here's what this actually does. All right, so now we are hooked in. We can close this off so that we can pull out without having this whole hose, this whole 6-foot hose, completely full of refrigerant. Okay, so if I was to crack this, see, that comes out. So we want to make sure this stays closed when we hook up. So we're going to be on the high side. Actually, that hose, I think I got a little issue with that. I'm going to change that out with a different one. Now, that little bit is called acceptable leakage. We talked the other day about you can have a certain amount come in or come out. Anytime it's just your hoses, that is acceptable. And there's another thing about leak detection. That's a percentage. And I'll see if I can't show you all that too. Let's look up. Okay. See here. There we go. Much better. I got to get a new O-ring. Where am I? There we go. Yeah, that O-ring's pretty worn out. Okay. Then we'll hook up our low side. Now on the low side, I don't have a low loss fitting or a cutoff valve. I don't really need one, especially with R22, because your pressures are so low that it doesn't really matter. Now, see our gauges moved up. And if you were to look, this pressure will actually equal this pressure. So we'll take this off. Now, your middle comes over here to your machine, to the in line. Screw that there. Get your tank. I'll grab this one. We'll grab an extra hose. So you're going to need 4 hoses for this in total. Oops, sorry. Y'all bear with me. I'm still trying to figure out how to do all this filming stuff with my phone one-handed. So, out. And here, this will read, you can see it, it says liquid. This one, you see it, it says vapor. This is a 2-way tank, okay? Refrigerant can come in and refrigerant can go out. You will then hook this here, like so. You will open your gauges. Then come to your machine, crack it, make sure there's no air. You will then open your valve, open your other valve, crack this line. Okay, we are air free, ready to go. At this point, you will open up this, come here and hit the power. Now, I'm not going to take all the refrigerant out of this one, but that is your standard setup. Tank pulls refrigerant, machine pulls refrigerant from the unit, puts it into the tank. Okay, that's a standard recovery. Next, I'll show you a standard vacuum.